Howdy doody! Right, we've looked at rainforests in depth, and now we're just going to have a little review. Okay? You're going to review your knowledge of rainforests. I'm going to give you a couple of slides of notes. Sorry, that review the most important information that we have learned over the last few weeks, and you're going to do a map task and a graph task because that's what we've been doing. Pretty much one of them every lesson. Here's the summary. Let's go for copying this down. So the characteristics of a rainforest. Remember, there are 4 types. Rainforest, montane, temperate rainforest, and lowland rainforest. You need 1,300 millimeters of rain per year to be classified as a rainforest. That's 1.3 meters. That's a lot of rain. There are 4 layers of the rainforest. Rainforest environments are changing. Australia used to be covered in rainforests, but now it's only got 4%. Why? The main reason is that the continent of Australia moved out of the tropical zone, and so it doesn't have hot, rainy weather. But also human deforestation. Yeah, so Australia was 9% rainforest before European settlers arrived in 1788, and they have taken it from 9% down to 4%. Amazon's the world's largest rainforest. That's important for the climate and oxygen, right? So something as big as the Amazon breathes in heap of carbon dioxide and breathes out heaps of oxygen, which regulates the oxygen levels in the atmosphere. And if the Amazon rainforest stops doing that, then we might have some oxygen problems on Earth. That stuff that you breathe, yeah, that would be bad. We get heaps of products from the rainforests. Indigenous people live in rainforests. They live traditional lifestyles, so they're nomadic, i.e. they move from place to place. They're subsistence, so if they farm, it's just enough for themselves to live on. And they might often be hunter-gatherers, i.e. they hunt and gather food from the rainforest. And Indigenous people living in rainforests, their lifestyles are threatened if they haven't already died out because we're cutting down the rainforests. Not cool. So there you go, characteristics of rainforest. You don't need to write this down, it's just a reminder. Very rainy, hot all year round, lots of rain all year round, tall trees, and they compete for sunlight. And the animals try to be camouflaged in the rainforest. There are those 4 layers, the emergent, the canopy, they're not the terms we use, the understory, and the forest floor is what those bottom 2 should be. There's the rainforest water cycle on the right, on the left. Yep, so the water evaporates, makes a cloud, rains, boom, some of it gets to the ground, but mostly the water gets to the leaves and then evaporates straight back into the cloud. So that's the water cycle in a rainforest, and that's the nutrient cycle in a rainforest. Yeah. So trees shed their leaves, that decays into the soil, the nutrients enter the soil, and then the nutrients go into the roots of the trees. The trees grow rapidly, and then they drop some leaves, and so on. That's why it's a cycle. Okay, final slide of notes. Rainforests are disappearing because of those 3 reasons: logging, farming, and mining. And developing nations' forests are most at risk. So forests that are in poorer developing countries are the most at risk because rainforests are a resource, and if you're poor, you use your resources. Also, they've got a lot of population growth, so people might move into those areas or start farms in those areas. You know, it's pretty rich for us in the West to go, oh, Brazil, you shouldn't cut down your forest when we've already cut all of ours down. So really we need to be helping them to protect their rainforest. The rainforests don't belong to a country, they belong to the world because they perform that vital climate stabilization and production of oxygen. And if we lose them, we're all going to be stuffed. What are some impacts of deforestation? It makes global warming worse. It results in extinctions, which sees a loss of biodiversity. Remember, biodiversity means the number of different species of plants and animals, not the number of animals, the number of different species of plants and animals. And we also see a loss for Indigenous people because that's where they live. How can we save the rainforests? We can protect them, or we can develop them sustainably. And I'm very dubious about this business, sustainable development. People say, yeah, I'm gonna do some sustainable development in the rainforest. Next minute, they've cut the whole thing down. Oh yeah, well, no, I don't trust humans. Every time I see a photo like that, I get sad. Here you go. This is an article from last month. So because there's so many fires burning in the Amazon, instead of it being at what's called a carbon sink, i.e. it sinks carbon into it because it breathes the carbon, and because it's burning so much, it's pumping out carbon dioxide in the smoke. Right, here's your first activity. Here's a map. Very weird map. What elements or bolts are missing, and if for each one that's missing, say why they would have made that map better. What's the style of the map? It's a bit weird if you ask me. What is the map showing us? So not what's it about, what's it showing us? What can we learn from looking at that map? What are the orange areas in the rainforest, do you think? Right, that's the map activity. And here's the graph activity. There's a graph. Which layer of the rainforest has the most species? You need to interpret the graph to get an answer that. A question. At what height is there the greatest increase in number of species, and what height sees the greatest decrease? Yeah. So increase and decrease is not about the level, it's about the change in level. So there's a change in the level. There's an increase, the peak, and then a decrease. There's another increase there. Thirdly, what are arthropods? It says arthropods on the graph. If you don't know what arthropods are, you're not going to be able to understand that graph. Finally, who might use this graph, and what might they use it for? It's time to go on a virtual field trip of the Amazon rainforest.
Welcome to the Amazon rainforest. And get ready to see some exotic plants and animals that you won't see anywhere else in the world. As you know, rainforests are one of the Earth's major habitats. Habitats are areas that share the same weather, plants, and animals. Tropical rainforests are located around the world in Central and South America, parts of Africa, Asia, and Australia. They are usually found close to the equator. Millions of years ago, rainforests covered most of the Earth. This is where the dinosaurs once lived. Now they cover only 7% of the Earth, but are home to half of the world's animal and plant species. Today, we are going to explore the South American rainforest in the Amazon basin. It is the largest of all the rainforests. The Amazon rainforest is about 2.5 million square miles, a bit smaller than the 48 states of the US. Here, you'll find more than 1,600 species of birds, 230 kinds of snakes, 600 different mammals, 40 different turtles, and 70,000 kinds of insects. Many of these species can't be found anywhere else in the world. You will also hear this rainforest called Amazonia because the mighty Amazon River runs through it. The Amazon is 4,000 miles long and is the second longest river in the world. As their name tells us, rainforests get much more rain than anywhere else in the world. It usually rains about 260 inches each year, but can reach as much as 400 inches. Not only is it wet, it is also very warm since it's so close to the equator. The average daily temperature is usually between 86 and 95 degrees. A wet and warm region like this means that everything grows well. This explains why the trees are so incredibly tall. Some parts of the rainforest are in mountainous areas. Up high, the treetops are always covered in a rainy, wet mist. They appear to be in the clouds, which is why these areas are called cloud forests. The Amazon, along with every other tropical rainforest, has 4 layers: the emergent layer, the canopy, the understory, and the forest floor. Each layer has its own story to tell. The emergent layer is the highest in the rainforest. It is where the tallest of the trees stick out from the top of the canopy. These are also the oldest trees in the Amazon rainforest, maybe even hundreds of years old. They can easily grow 165 feet tall. Some grow even higher. In order to live so high up in the rainforest, animals need to be able to fly or climb. Up this high, you might find the South American harpy eagle using the trees to look for its next meal. They also protect their young by building their nest up high in the emergent layers. You can see many colorful birds here, including many members of the parrot family, like these conures. These parrots live in noisy flocks high up in the trees. This red-winged parrot uses its strong, curved beak to feed on fruit, seeds, flower buds, and insects. Spider monkeys can spend their lives up here in the treetops and are expert climbers. They are able to use their arms, legs, and even their tail to grip the branches. The blue morpho butterfly is one of the many colorful butterflies that we see flitting around the treetops. Moving down to the next layer, we find ourselves in the canopy. This is the umbrella of treetops covering the rainforest. It is the main layer of the rainforest. More animals live in the canopy than anywhere else in the Amazon jungle. In fact, about 2/3 of the rainforest animals can be found in the canopy. Here, you might see the slow-moving sloth, who hangs upside down all day, even to sleep. The emergent layer and the canopy share a lot of the same residents: birds, monkeys, snakes, butterflies, and insects. You might find this emerald tree boa another superb climber. See how well camouflaged it is to look just like the leaves on the trees? If a howler monkey catches sight of one of these snakes, it will sound an alarm that would be impossible to ignore. The shrieks are ear-splitting. Macaws, like this brilliant hyacinth macaw, are one of the many birds moving around the canopy. Many animals are able to find food, water, and shelter here, and so they have no need to leave. The canopy is the home of choice for 30% of the world's birds, like this red-green macaw. Here is a toucanet. Bird life ranges from giant eagles weighing up to 17 pounds to these tiny hummingbirds weighing only a few ounces. Hummingbirds feed on the nectar of flowers like this long-tailed sylph. Beautiful, isn't it? Their long bills let them get deep into the flower, like this sword-billed hummingbird. As they feed, they are dusted with the flower's pollen. When they fly away, they spread the pollen wherever they go. These colorful toucans like to hang around the canopy eating leaves, fruits, and nuts. Here is one of the most recognizable creatures in the Amazon, the red-eyed tree frog. It has suction cups on its tiny feet, allowing it to hang on tight. Insects have an easier time of it since they can crawl up and down the trees. So can the spiders. These tarantulas are some of the world's largest spiders and can grow as large as dinner plates. They come out at night to hunt. Chameleons live in the canopy along with other lizards. A close-up look at chameleons shows us that they can move each eye separately. This helps them to be on alert against lurking predators. Chameleons are masters of disguise, able to change their color if they are scared or if they want to blend into the background. Geckos, too, can change the color of their skin for protection. This ability, known as camouflage, helps them to survive. Camouflage allows an animal to either hide from predators or to sneak up on prey when hunting. We hope you enjoyed meeting some of the exciting animals that live in the Amazon rainforest.
I hope you enjoyed your virtual field trip. Your virtual gumboots all muddy? You need to virtually clean them before you come inside, virtually. Anyway, reflection activity. Right, reflection activity, very simple. Summarize this lesson in exactly 12 words. And that, my friends, is our unit on rainforests. Thank you so much for participating in this and all the lessons. And I don't ever want you to forget to keep it real.